This is the Inquisitive Minds Podcast.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Inquisitive Minds Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Johnny Smith. Today, we're going to be discussing legendary bird cryptids. My guest today is a researcher and investigator of the Unexplained and founder of two research groups, Center for Unexplained Events and Center for Cryptozoological Studies. He's appeared on Monsters and Mysteries in America, on Destination America, a national cable channel. He has been featured on the independent film Mountain Devil, The Search for Frank Peterson, was an extra in the Mothman Prophecies movie. He's also a member of the Butler Organization on Research of the Unexplained, a co-sponsor for the Butler Paranormal Conference. He's a former member/investigator of the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, and the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society. Welcome back to the guest, Brian Seech.
Thanks for having me, Johnny.
Welcome back to the guest. I'm already starting off terribly. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. A little bit of windy out there today. The perfect weather for Thunderbirds.
Definitely. So let's just jump right into it. What can you tell us about Thunderbirds?
Well, Thunderbirds, basically in Native American culture, they would talk of these huge birds that would ride along when there's a storm. There would be lightning, and when they would flap their wings, it would sound almost like thunder.
Okay.
So they got their name of Thunderbirds.
Okay, from what I understand, too, from the Native American lore, they were thought to be watchmen of the upper world on Earth, like guardians of a specific area at times.
Yeah, that's what some of the cultures believed.
That's fascinating. Let's go right up to modern day, because that's what makes it more interesting, especially Pennsylvania. Have there been sightings of these creatures over Pennsylvania?
Yeah, there's several places in PA. One is the Black Forest region, which would be Clinton, Potter, and Tioga counties,
okay.
right up next to New York. It's called the Black Forest region. Also, the Chestnut Ridge, Westmoreland County. There's been a lot of sightings.
Fairly close to us right now.
Yeah. And also, we've received a couple of reports from up around Erie, Pennsylvania.
Now, when they call in, do they just call it a giant bird? Where do they go from here?
Yeah, they say, hey, I saw this bird of enormous size, huge wingspan. They say, I've never seen a bird that big before. Typically, there's actually two different kinds of quote-unquote Thunderbirds have been seen in PA. One is the black, it is more of an eagle condor-like one.
Is that the one in the photo on the screen?
And that's the one in the, it's on your screen. That actually is a mock-up of the of a teratorn, which actually it's called the if I can say this right, the Argentificus magnificus, I think is what it's called.
Sounds good to me.
I hope I said that right.
Sounds good to me. I can't go any better.
And there's also the other type that they have been seeing, look more like a pterosaur, which would be like a pterodactyl type bird with
so more
really long
reptilian.
beak. Yes.
Okay. Now, you sent me an article about a boy who was abducted by one of these birds. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? It happened in 72?
No, it was actually in 77. It was in Lawndale, Illinois. During that 77 period, there was an outbreak of Thunderbird sightings in the Midwest, in Illinois in particular. On this day, there were two children playing in a yard, and there was two giant birds flying overhead. One of them swooped down and grabbed one of the boys. He was a real small boy. Picked him up. They said the mom said about 3 feet in the air and dragged him probably 35 feet until it dropped them. Actually, and then the mom was yelling. They were yelling at the bird, and the bird just let the child go. And he had some scrapes and bruises, but he was okay. There have been other sightings, like in history, of some of these birds, huge birds, Thunderbirds, swooping down and grabbing children.
From what I understand, the first known sighting in the modern times happened in 1890. I can't remember by who, but it actually appeared in the Tombstone Epitaph newspaper. and it was described almost as the pterodactyl. It was a smooth, hairless body, sharp, pointy teeth, massive, thick, but nearly transparent leathery wings, and elongated pointy tail. So that almost seems like a scene out of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Good movie.
Yep.
Now, these things exist. What do we know anything about what potential habitat or how they stay to themselves, so to speak?
Well, if they exist the way we think a known animal would exist, you would figure they would have to probably be up on cliffs, things like that, and have nests.
I already see where this is going. I didn't realize it until you, but I see where this is going.
And in lesser parts of the state, which one thing people don't realize, even like in the Black Forest region, which we did my wife and I, along with two of our friends, Tim and John Frick, it was probably about 2003. That's how long ago it was. We actually did a Thunderbird expedition up at Kettle Creek State Park. Yeah,
that's interesting.
And if you ever, some of the people who are listening here have probably been up to that area, and it looks like a scene out of something like out of Rambo. I mean, just massive, nothing but forest, and so you would think if something would actually still be living and existing,
it'd be up there.
That would be one of the places that they could still be.
Now, are we going with interdimensional?
Well, I did have to talk about that.
Okay, I like it.
Well,
I like it. I feel better about myself because now that I've been more engrossed in this type of activities, I can understand where things are headed.
Well, if you want to say, as a strict cryptozoologist per se, we are looking for actual physical specimens of a known
We
animal.
don't like labels around here.
Yeah.
We want to travel interdimensionally.
But the one thing that has been brought up, as far as the interdimensional, some people are saying, well, possibly could this be more something of a time slip, where somehow, maybe these birds somehow very quickly, and you don't see them that long, they phase back into our reality.
Okay.
They're seen for a short period of time, and then they phase back out. And I know you had my friend Fred Saluga on the show.
Yes.
A little while ago, and he's coming back. His favorite saying is, where do they come from and where do they go?
Okay.
So could it be somehow unknown to science? Sometimes some of these birds, being that they're in high altitude, somehow can phase back in for a short period, just a very short period, be seen, and then they're gone. I don't know, but it is one of the theories that's being thrown out. I
will say the only thing that would allow me to believe in Thunderbirds would be something like a interdimensional travel or time slips.
Yes.
Because at this point, I really find it hard to believe that we haven't discovered almost everything on land. Mm-hmm. I know we're coming out with new discoveries all the time. They're like, oh, a new frog was found in the rainforest. Yeah, but it's the size of a pin.
Yeah.
So that is where I get excited to when you start talking about the time slips or interdimensional travel, because that's the only way I can think that it makes sense.
It would stretch the imagination, actually, to think that there's a bird of that size.
Oh, yeah.
And people have not seen it more often, or they've not seen, say, root kills or things like that. So
now, this bird up here on the screen, you said it was a mock-up. Does that mean it was it's not a real photo?
It's not. They actually made that up to represent what the creature looked like, yeah.
Okay, now, I didn't search too much for photos, but are there other photos said to be of these birds?
Well, there's one let me see here. It's called the John Huffer video. And that was taken on July 30th, 1977, in Lake Shelbyville in Illinois.
Okay.
The gentleman was in his boat, and he sees, I believe it was one bird, it might have been two, and he was actually able to take a quick film of it. And it's sitting on a limb, and then it takes off and flies. It is a very huge bird. Most skeptics, they say that that's just nothing but a turkey vulture.
Okay.
But turkey vultures do have that distinct red head.
That's very true.
Yeah. So if you do get a chance, you can maybe Google the John Huffer video.
Okay, the John Huffer video.
Yeah.
You also, when you mentioned the pterodactyl-like creatures, I believe I saw a photograph of a bunch of gentlemen holding one up. Have you seen this photo before?
Well, you know what? Growing up in the 70s, I would buy I would buy a lot of the UFO magazines and things coming out and Fate magazines. And the big thing in this field is, hey, have you seen that Thunderbird photograph?
Okay.
And I would stake money on as a kid. In some magazine, I saw it. There was a barn, and there was a bunch of men in cowboy hats, and this pterodactyl was actually strapped to the barn.
Yeah.
But nobody can find this picture. And a lot of people that I know, some older researchers, and they say, I swear I saw that photo, almost like a Mandela effect type thing. Now there's been a lot of mock-ups that have been fakery since then. Oh, here's the Thunderbird photo. It looked nothing like what I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, I could still picture today what it looked like. If you would give it to me today, I could tell you that's the picture or that's not the picture. And I've looked at a lot of so-called, this is it. I'm like, none of them are like that.
Okay. Could we venture to say maybe the government's covering it up? Who knows?
You see what's going on right now, right?
Who knows?
Yes.
I just want to take a second to talk to the listeners. I want to grow my listenership, obviously, and I'm working on creating a product that's going to do that. However, I want to do alternatives, like a giveaway. But I don't know what kind of gift cards you guys would like. I would love somebody to reach out to me. Not even sure how to do the giveaway yet, but I'm starting with ideas. Check us out. Like, subscribe, do something. Hopefully. Brian, when I was researching this, typing in legendary birds and things, obviously I got a lot of Pokemon, which got on my nerves beyond belief. But then I came across something called a bosun or a basa. Have you heard of this?
That's one I've not heard of. Man.
It is essentially a fire rooster, a giant fire-breathing chicken from Japanese folklore, which was definitely not the topic of the show, but I thought since it was another, legendary bird, quote-unquote, I could bring it up. And apparently, it breathes ghost fire.
Yeah, I've not heard that one.
Well, it's weird to me because it feels cold and does not burn those around it. And it's said to live in the bamboo forests of, and I'm going to screw this name up, Lao province. But I just wanted
you got me on that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that one out because when you go down the rabbit hole, you also get winged cryptids.
Yeah. And
they mentioned something named Owlman.
Yeah, there was the Owlman that was in Cornwall, England.
Okay.
In the 70s. Three girls saw that creature. But if you want to talk about just regular winged birds.
Oh, go ahead.
So I can throw you out a couple. There's the Congomado in Africa, and it kind of looks like a pterodactyl. There's the Ropin in Papua New Guinea.
Oh, wow.
It also looks like a pterosaur. There's the Ahu, I think that's somewhere in Africa also. So there is precedence for some of these other giant birds in other continents.
See, that's what gets me going, like with this and with other cryptid lore. It's especially Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just, the state of Pennsylvania or even the United States that only saw Bigfoot, I'd be like, whatever. But it's in so many different countries and different names for it. And just like these birds are in so many different places, cultures with different names, it's just like something's got to be going on that only a couple people have seen so far. And then that's terrifying. That little boy was picked up. I wonder, essentially why wasn't he taken?
Well, I think because the mom and the kids were screaming, and I think it just lost hold of the boy.
Okay.
I think is what happened in that particular instance.
Was there other eyewitnesses to this?
There was the mom and the boy who was picked up and his brother, I believe. Three.
Okay, so when things are in the paper like this, I don't get why they're not explored more. Mm. That was the article, and it seemed like it was released, and that was it. Mm. If I see something like that, I want to know what's going on. Hey, is there birds out here going to get my kids? And seeing the talons of an eagle, imagine how big those feet are. Wrap me up, wrap you up.
There's a good documentary that came out by Seth Breedlove. It's called Terror from the Skies, and it talks a lot about a lot of these bird sightings in the Midwest. So I suggest anyone listening is interested, just go to Small Town Monsters, and you can look at Terror in the Sky and pick up a copy of that. I highly recommend it.
Now, I know you do some teaching of a class on cryptozoology. You said you also took a class, and one of the chapters was legendary birds?
Yeah, it was a cryptozoology class it was called here Universal Class. And it's an online class you take, and you could pay to get the little certificate. But it's mainly for I actually took this class before Fred and I taught the 2 classes that we did in Eastern Gateway College because we wanted kind of a format. You have to present a format to the college that you go to. And we did follow this format, only we added our own sightings and things like that.
Now, when you teach your classes, do you have a section on the birds?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us a bit of an overview on that? Share some of your knowledge?
Oh, when we did the class, you mean? When we taught the class?
Just on the specific nature of the course that goes over the birds, the chapter that covers the birds.
Oh, it basically, I have it actually right here in front of me. It actually tells you what a Thunderbird is, and then it gives sightings. In every chapter, it'll tell you what the creature is, what it looks like.
Now, is there more memorable sightings than what we've talked about?
Well, basically, they only list several of the ones I've told you about in Lawndale, Illinois.
Okay.
There was one here in 2001 in South Greensburg, if you want me to read it real quick.
Yeah,
it's short.
yeah.
It's really short. It says, on the night of September 25th, a 19-year-old reported seeing a huge bird flying overhead. The witness's attention was first drawn to the sky after hearing a sound that reminded him of flags flapping in a thunderstorm. The witness then claimed to look up, seeing a bird with a wingspan between 10 and 15 feet with the head approximately 3 feet in length.
That's a big
Now,
head.
that's what we kind of get. Now, most of the quote-unquote Thunderbird sightings, they talk about a huge wingspan of almost 20 feet. And that's really big. That's a really huge wingspan. The biggest wingspan of a bird is the wandering albatross, and that's in this course. And it has a wingspan of 12 feet.
That's still incredibly big.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So when you get around 16...
With that, what I'd like to say is the skeptics, you always got to go in the skeptic point. They'll say, well, when you see a bird in the sky, there's no scale. You can't put it against anything, so it's hard to judge how big a bird actually is. I've seen some pretty big birds, but not to this size.
Yeah.
But if you would see that same bird on a tree or by a rock, you can measure it and actually tell how big that the bird is. But when you're seeing something up in the sky, it's really hard because there's no scale to put it against.
I mean, that's fair enough, though, but I feel like when you're seeing something, you know if it's bigger than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 100 feet in the air. We can look at airplanes and go, whoa, that's a big airplane.
Yeah.
We can gauge, I don't know, the moon was in its 3rd phase, but it's a big goddamn bird.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Yep.
12 feet's big enough. Anything bigger than that. So once you get to 16, 20 feet, that's when you guys start going, okay, maybe it wasn't enough. And what is an albatross native to? I don't know where they're from.
I think those are like on the California coast out that way.
So it'd be really rare to see one in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
we do have our turkey vultures, which I think they're about 10 feet, the wingspan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do we know anything about their potential diet or anything like that?
As far as like the Thunderbirds, they believe that they're predators. They'll eat meat and
they'll pick up a buffalo if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay. I just imagine like a cartoon. How the old shtick is somebody gets kidnapped by a bird and drops them off in the nest, and the eggs are as big as they are.
Or a lot of the old dinosaur movies, which I grew up with in the 60s. And so,
I just get that imagery, and it's like, I don't know. It's another one of those things I'd like to see for myself, because with everything they talk about, it's just essentially a bird. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no weird powers or anything that come with it outside of being a bird. Yeah. So I feel like if this was real, I would love to see it. And unfortunately, PETA is going to get after me, but I'd like to see it in an enclosure somewhere. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go and look at that thing.
I would definitely like to go see it.
Yeah, I'd check that out. Joe Exotic, get it going. Free Joe Exotic, everybody. Now, is there any relation between these birds and other winged cryptids? Because I know the most famous one, whenever you type winged cryptid, is the Mothman.
It's the Mothman, one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah.
We also deal with, we call them winged entities per se. Some people just call them winged humanoids. But those are in a different category because these are humanoid type creatures or entities with wings, not a bird. These are humanoid.
Well. What are those? That's very interesting.
Well, you have everyone knows about the Mothman.
Okay.
But we actually have, and I might have mentioned it on our last show about the Chikora gargoyle. I don't remember if I did or not.
I don't think you mentioned the if you did, just bring it up again. The gargoyle. I don't remember that.
Yeah, this was a creature that basically looked like a gargoyle type creature. It was seen between 2011 and 2012 up in Chikora, Butler County, PA.
Huh.
And it was seen. Dan Hegman has done the most research on those from Boru, which you'll get to meet him next Saturday. And this creature was basically gray. It was about 7 or 8 feet tall. It had wings that wrapped around its back, and its head almost kind of looked like a bicycle helmet. It was
okay.
An aerodynamic like bicycle helmet type looking. It wasn't wearing a bicycle helmet, but it was. The head kind of resembled that.
Okay, now that's a terrifying sight.
Yes.
Any reports of like attacks or just sightings?
Just basically sightings. Walking across the road, flying. We received one. It was an older report that we got. Actually, it was third hand, but we were actually to get a hold of a drawing in 1993 in Allentown.
Okay.
Which these two couples were coming back from late night at the drive-in. And driving down this dusty road, and they saw this creature walk from left to right in front of them. And when it got to the side of the road, it lifted its wings up and shot straight up. It didn't flap it; it just lifted its wings and shot straight up in the air.
That's a terrifying sight. Like I always think about the things that are claimed on sightings, and whether they were real or not. I just like to think about how I would feel in that situation. I would be nervous enough seeing this creature walk across the road, but then shoot up. My next thought, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, is, oh no, he's going to kill me. He's going to come for me.
If you would see the drawing, and I could probably bring them next Saturday for you to look at them.
Okay.
If you would see the drawings that were done of both entities, cryptids, they're almost the exact same creature. When I saw it, I actually got goosebumps down my arm. And one of the other thing with some of these winged humanoid, it's the legs. The legs are muscular, but they bend in backwards.
Oh, that's
kind of like a chicken. It's really weird. They're really weird. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's even worse. That makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Before we go on to keep talking about this, do you want to mention what's going on next Saturday?
Yeah, we have. It's the UFO Expo. It is in the Morrell Fire Department. It is a free event. This is sponsored by Fred Saluga, which you'll see him there, and I think he's on next week on your show.
Yes, Fred Saluga is on next episode, guys. Tune in for that one.
And it's I'm trying to see here. It's 10 to 4. It's free admission to the public. There's going to be a lot of vendors there, and the lineup is I know Fred Saluga is speaking, John Ventry, Dan Hegman, and a gentleman named James Krug. They're all speaking, and the times there, the whole event is from 10 to 4. Oh, thank you. I got to read this, folks. The whole event is 10 to 4, and Fred Saluga will be speaking, John Ventry, and Roger Marsh will not be speaking. That'll be Daniel Hegman and James Krug.
Okay.
And it benefits the Morrell Volunteer Fire Company, and it is at the Morrell Volunteer Fire Company Events Center, 1232 University Drive in Dunbar, PA, 15431. You won't want to miss it. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, guys, so check that out. I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up, check out some people. Brian will be there, obviously a former guest and future guest, and this is probably the only week I can say that now. Fred Saluga will be there. It's going to be a fun time. Come on out. So these Wigan humanoids, we got the gargoyle, we got Mothman, and was there other specific ones?
Well, there's been the Van Meter monster. That was seen in 5 days, over 5 days in Van Meter, Iowa.
You know, by the way, I love the names of these cryptids because it's so simple. It's like, what is that? Oh, that's the Chicago goat. What was it? It was seen in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Now, what did that thing look like?
It looked more like a bird type thing, but it actually had like a shining. There's a light on top of its head. It was really strange. It was a really strange. You could, if you would ever go and just type in Van Meter or the Van Meter Visitor or the Van Meter Monster.
Okay.
They call it both, and type it in. It's really really weird looking.
Well, let's let you sink your teeth into your favorite. Let's go in with Mothman.
Mothman's my total favorite.
Yeah, since we'll stay with the theme of wings, at least. Mothman was first seen in...
November of 1966 through December of 1967. The sightings pretty much culminated with the collapse of the Silver Bridge. Now, there still were some alleged sightings afterwards, so they didn't stop exactly after that, but there were several after.
Now, when these sightings, how do they describe him?
They describe Mothman as a little bit different, and it was winged, but it had red glowing eyes, and it didn't have a neck per se. The head was like right on the shoulders, and you could actually type this in and look it up. The original, the drawing for it. With,
okay.
Linda Scarberry and several others saw it. They were the first ones to see it.
And you said, what was the significance to the bridge collapsing? Was that supposed to be like his home or something?
No, I just think that there was it was, I think, December 15th. Don't quote me, but I'm getting old, so I'm kind of forgetting exact dates now. But I think it was December 15th when, I think it was about 6 o'clock when there was a lot of cars and congestion on that bridge and an eye bolt broke.
Oh, okay.
And after that, the whole bridge, it swayed and then it collapsed. The movie Mothman Prophecies actually took, if you would watch that, and I think you might have said you might have seen that.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's been a while.
The very end is where the bridge goes down.
Okay.
And very scary.
Now, did they have any malicious contact with him? Like, again, is it just sightings or has there been interactions?
The creature would go up, would chase after cars, and in one of the very first with Linda Scarberry, this creature actually was flying alongside their car, going 100 miles an hour into Point Pleasant.
Ryan, I'm gonna be frank here. If I see anything like that flying beside my car, I'm probably gonna shit myself. It sounds like these people who see these things are so well keep it together, because they're taking notes. They got specific details when I would probably be screaming until I couldn't breathe.
Well, they actually drove straight to the police station, and they gave their account on this one. Yeah, that's
right. No disrespect to anyone listening, but what the hell are the police supposed to do with something like that?
Well, they did go out and investigate.
I would. Yeah, man. If I was a police officer, I'd say I'm here for robberies, not creatures. I can't do that.
Well, they came in. The police did say they came in. They were actually shaking. They were scared. They knew something had happened to them. They knew that they weren't just pulling a prank.
Okay.
Because they said that they were very, very, they were scared of something. So
we're bringing the Mothman in. We're done. He's speeding at least. Cuff him. His eyes are glowing red. Don't fucking worry about it. Cuff him.
And there were over 100 sightings of this creature during that time.
Now, you said the sightings since, they've been less, but are they still happening today?
I've heard that there's been, through the years, several alleged sightings down there, but I can't confirm them.
I guess I should say, has there been any credible sightings?
Well, again, I can't confirm them. There apparently has been some, but some people won't talk about them. With
all the information out there about Mothman, is there a strong hypothesis on why he appeared during the dates he did? Like, what was the significance of him being there for that time?
That's the interesting thing about that is the long period of time. That was like 13 months that it was seen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and like a lot of these other cryptids, we actually had one scene that was seen up in, I think it was up towards Mercer County. And it kind of had a head. It was kind of funny. I have a drawing of that, and it looks like Count Chocula, and the face looks like Count Chocula. But they're seen once or twice, and they're gone. Not this creature was there. This one
specifically was
there for a while. The Mothman was there for a while.
Okay. Now, I want to ask a question about his name, I guess. Like, does his face look like a moth, or is he a humanoid with wings, or does he look like a bigger
Well,
moth?
how it got the Mothman is there was a villain on the Batman show. It was called the Mothman, and so they just said it was Mothman. That's how it was Mothman. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's simpler than I had hoped.
Yeah.
That's disappointing, if I'm being honest. Well, with those hundreds of sightings, any negative reports, like outside of being cars chased, like any violence or anything, I hate to say mutilated, but I guess like that.
Apparently there was several dogs missing in the area. One of the I did get to speak to one of the eyewitnesses, and her name was Marcellus Bennett.
Okay.
And she actually had this creature approach the car that she was going into, and she actually dropped her baby. That's how scared she was.
Yeah.
It just appeared. It just came up and it appeared, and she grabbed her, her baby, and ran inside the house. And she claims it was actually walking up on top of the house. She heard it.
See, that's terrifying. Have you heard of the somewhere in like England, something devil, when there was like footprints in the snow?
Oh yeah, the devil is called the devil in Devonshire.
Yes,
I think.
Devonshire. Yes, and it talked about it walking on the roof,
and they had the hoof prints that went for miles. Yeah.
See, that kind of reminds me of something like that. Mm-hmm. And either way, it's like these people. I feel bad for them because they have no proof, but it's like when something's on your roof. Mm-hmm. You can hear when something's walking. But at that point, if you tell someone that, you might as well tell them Santa Claus is up there.
Yeah. And he's coming pretty soon, as long as they don't outlaw Christmas.
I don't know.
You never know.
Santa wasn't practicing social distancing up there. The toys are going to be halted. All the elves are sick. COVID strikes again, fuckers. That's interesting. Dogs were missing. And then once it cleared up, obviously, that's the town's like... that's their big draw now. This is the site of Mothman? Do they have festivals and whatnot?
Oh yeah, every year they have the moth. Well, except this year because of the COVID.
Okay.
And they shut down basically the whole town, and they have vendors there. Thousands of people come to it. If you ever get the chance, we've been down there about 5 times already.
Now what do they have down there? Like as you go down to do that stuff? What's
Well, they have the old theater. They have speakers there. I was able to speak several times down there, which was pretty fun. A lot of vendors, they have games, things like that there, and they just sell everything from like soup to nuts. They just and
kind of like Roswell with their
with
their economy down there.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's because
they do have there's also a Mothman museum down there. It's dedicated to the sightings, newspaper clippings, and Jeff Walmsley, he runs it.
Okay.
And one of the greatest guys you'll ever want to meet is Jeff, and he's really helped promote and get this town, notoriety.
That's interesting.
From a creature that was seen in the 60s. So
yeah. It was good to hear no people died from it. Because I don't know. That's a lot of thing with these cryptids. Like either when they're seen, something happens, like animals die or property's damaged. But this guy was just flying around being a dickhead.
Yeah,
seems like.
there are some people that try to connect Mothman with the bridge going down. That's something I've never believed. I just think it was
trying to put blame on him for collapsing
like
the bridge?
It was a harbinger of doom. But I just don't. I think that's maybe pushing it too much. I just think it was a bridge that, unfortunately one bolt broke, and there was too many people on the bridge at that time, and
that
very
happens.
tragic. I think it was like 46 people perished.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that
bridge,
many.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Whew. Well, ending on a positive note, Brian, where can the people find you?
We have actually two Facebook pages you can check. One of them is Center for Cryptozoological Studies, and the other is Center for Unexplained Events. They're both on Facebook. We post all the events coming up. Like we'll be posting the UFO expo here on the.
Okay, I would say Brian shares stuff on Facebook all the time. It's always very interesting stuff.
Yeah. You like my Godzilla post? Because that's I post a lot of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Big Godzilla guy.
Yeah, I like your Godzilla post. Guys, you can check me out at the Laughs to Keep from Crying show at Brandy's Basement in Irwin on the 28th of this month. It is going to be a jazz/comedy show. So be sure to check that out. That'll be interesting. You can find us at inquisitiveminds.com. Guys, we're available on all streaming services. Check out the store. Buy some merch. Support the podcast. Let's keep it going. Tell your fucking friends about me. Something. We're trying, guys. I'm going to keep putting on shows whether you listen to it or not. But just fucking tell somebody, hey, listen to this shit. It's dope. I think it is. Also, check out What in the History with me and my co-host, Dan Brady, where we dive into obscure history topics every week. We are talking about veterans this entire month. We talked about Audie Murphy and John Basilone on the last episode, two badass dudes who received Medals of Honor. That's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to check Brian out. And until next time, peace and love.